Hey there, I'm Mike Dunn with Gaming Trend, and we're here at Gen Con 2023. And I've got Nathan next to me from CGE and Check Games.
Yeah,
And we're going to take a look at Kutná Hora.
yeah. The City of Silver.
Yes, the City of Silver. Now, we did get a look at this at Origins, but I think I'd like to take a much deeper kind of dive into this.
Yeah.
If we
It's a little bit prettier now too, because we've kind of finalized a little bit more of the componentry and made some adjustments.
Right, right.
But yeah, I'll give you the overview. If I can give you some more detail beyond that, we'll just
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
So Kutná Hora is an actual city in the Czech Republic that you can visit today. It's a beautiful city that historically was known for smelting of silver or smelting of ore to create silver. That was then used to make coins, essentially. So in the 13th century, it has a historical history where the city built up and then kind of rapidly grew out of that. And in this game, it's a historical heavy-duty Euro city building game where you're kind of recreating some of the history of that with the growth between discovery of the mines and digging in and getting the ore and refining it, and then building the city up and around that. So there's like two main areas of the board where you're building out on a shared board the city, and then you're also mining to get different elements from there to fill the growth. So the idea is that in each player as kind of an influential family that has kind of control over three asymmetrical guilds. There's actually 6 different guilds, and each of them ties into one different piece of the puzzle of the overall game's economy. At the beginning of the game, there's a drafting system, so you'll get to individually pick which guilds through drafting you want to have the opportunity to control, and then you'll slot them into your board and wherever you like, and then that becomes a resource tracker for the types of resources you're getting of each guild, and also you kind of align when you build certain guild buildings that tie into these and place them on the board when you're building stuff. It will give you bonuses based on how you've decided to set that up. So, so the asymmetrical element is actually one of the really cool things because it makes every game pretty different, and also the way that this impacts the economy is really exciting to see how it unfolds. So in this game, you're taking action. It's an action selection based. You're using cards. These are double-sided cards that kind of you can choose which way to use them, and you can do 2 per turn, and you do 3 rounds of that each round before you advance next turn. So these lets you do different things like plot. So if you're going to plot, it lets you spend a cube to acquire a plot of land on the player board, where you're basically building. You'll be future building out there. This costs you money. That is one of the options. So you can acquire space from the board, and you need to build off adjacent elements. Everyone's also building out on a shared city board, so you're all developing the city together. You're all mining together. Historically, everyone was kind of involved in the growth of the city all together.
So that kind of helps it not be so much like a solitaire kind
Yeah,
of Euro
no,
style game.
this game is very
There's
interactive.
there's
Yeah.
a little interplay and friction between
Yeah,
players.
everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Like, there's not any direct, there's no take that. It's very Euro point salad energy. But you're building the city, and because everything you do sort of influences through the guilds that you're doing, influence different areas of the economy. That there's a lot of give and take, there's ebb and flow to how the different systems interplay. Well, I won't go through all of these. Basically, you are getting plots. You're acquiring buildings for different. Each of these guilds has a stack of your own buildings. You've got 3. Each player can have up to 3 types of guilds they're buying buildings for. So you'll be spending resources to slot them into your board, and then on a future turn you'll be building where you've had the plots. When you build stuff, things happen. You basically end up. We will get some kind of bonus. So you'll get production. So you increase production on your track. Let's say if I was building, for example, this wood structure, be paying 5 gold times the current value. So one thing I didn't describe yet is that everything in this game, resources are represented here on these little calculator computer things, cardboard computers, you can kind of calling them shorthand. But whether you're spending resources or gaining resources, it all is in the form of money. So everything is money in the game. Let's say if I want to need to spend 5 wood times 4, because that's the current economic value of wood, I would be spending 20 coins essentially. So when I'm spending it or receiving resources based on production, it's all money. So it simplifies everything. You just track it through this system here. So I would put this, for example, if this is my player, I'd have this reserve, I would build this, I would get 7 production. So let's say I was purple, I would go from here all the way up to 7. So on a future turn, when I use the income action using a card, I would then produce 7 gold times whatever the cost of wood was in that moment. So you're beefing up your system by building things that give you more resources. And also because one of the things that's most unique about this game is it has a very authentic supply and demand economic system, which is kind of one of the cool things. So everything's money, and then things shift based on what you do. So this would then say I'm introducing basically some supply into the system, so that will kind of reduce it impact. So to reduce this slightly over time, this will go down. But because this card also this is tied to population, this is tied to mining. So because I've got beer, meat, and wood, you're building a housing, so people are attracted to the city. So I would then reduce or I would increase the population by 1, and that would then potentially pushes the number back up. Not every single round, but over time the supply and demand will shift and flow over the course of the game for each resource. So
I mean, I know my life is all about beer, meat, and wood.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, isn't everybody? So yeah, this fascinates me. This looks really, really cool. Definitely, like this alone could probably be a rock solid game, but this adds like a nice little.
it adds a lot to it. Yeah, I mean, you're doing all the typical heavy Euro things. You're building
Yeah.
stuff. Each of these areas, the board scores differently. So there's like adjacency with symbols. This one you're like seeing who has the most in each particular level of the mine, and then getting first, second, third points versus that. You're doing other actions you're working to build together as everyone, the cathedral. This is a cathedral that actually exists in Kutná Hora today. It's beautiful. You can actually go visit it if you ever go to the Czech Republic. As you build it out, it gets the rewards get better. So you'll get this reward, build it over, the next person would get the next one. So that's also a thing that happens.
Okay, so like one side is purple.
Yep, the unbuilt side is purple, and then when you build it, it fills in and gets all colorful.
That's very cool.
But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to score in this game. The asymmetry of the guilds and how those tie into the supply and demand economy is really what makes each session very different. Because like your choices you make will impact most other players in some way. So if like you're cool, if you want to build something and it costs a lot of wood, for example, if you've acquired this building, it's 12, you want to wait until wood goes down to build it. So you build it maybe late in the game once people have built a couple things.
You
but-
don't want to spend 36 on it.
no, and so like being opportunistic about what you do, because you only play 2 cards per turn.
But then someone else might take it.
Yeah, so like I would say I would play 2 cards, someone else would go around, I would play 2 more cards, and then the third time around I'll play 1 last card, and then after everyone's done that, it goes to the next round and you get all your cards back. So the other things you can do are also, so you can build the cathedral, you can mine. Also, there's a Joker card that lets you pick any of the options, but
Joker's wild.
you take a bit of a hit on your reputation. So as your reputation decreases, you get negative points, but if it grows, you get perks like being able to plot for free or for 1. Or if you get up here, you can do the Joker cards for free. So you get benefits from having that. As you build more, you get more perks as you're building.
Of course.
So it's a lot of like interesting systems all layered together.
You know, that revealed mechanic. Especially
Yeah.
with these double layer.
I do love that. Yeah, it's like you're building too. You get a bonus for doing it, so it feels like you're getting something while you're doing all these other things. And every game plays differently. Like I've played 3 or 4 games in a row, sitting down and have every game be completely wildly different based on the asymmetrical guilds you end up picking, based on what other players choose and how they play the game. And that's the fact that you kind of there has a lot of replay because of that. You have the ability to kind of mix and match and have different styles of approach. And you'll find because the economics shift very frequently through the game, you might start in one direction, be like, okay, well, I need to pivot and go in a different direction because maybe the value of something is either too high or too low for me to make use of that right now. What else can I do with my time? And the other thing that's really important that I wanted to like bring up, we started working with a new company that makes this material called Rewood. All of these components have the level of detail as if they were plastic injection molding, but they're actually recycled wood. There's another binding material, but it's 80% recycled wood, and also 20% additional binding material to kind of help compress it. So they put that through injection molding, so it becomes a solid, hard like detail material.
Oh, wow.
So the level of detail we're getting on these pieces is very intense, and but it's all recycled and it's very sustainable.
This is very, very sturdy.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was really impressed when I saw for the first time in person the level of detail, because we've been doing 3D printed versions of this,
Right.
just to have things, but like these are even better just in terms of like the level. They're really sturdy, but also level deep, and they're recycled, which is really awesome. So people have been really excited to hear about that, and I've been excited.
Now you all announced this just a few days ago.
Yeah, this was just recently. I think we announced it on the Dice Hour. I think. But
Yeah.
yeah. So it's all.
Oh, this is
Something we're
this is really like You're right. I didn't even imagine that you'd get this level of detail. These are really nice.
Which makes me excited for like future games too, because if we use more
yeah.
of this, like we can do more and get some really nice componentry. Yeah, and also I like having something that's not the usual standard four colors. You know, like red, blue, like the hard primer colors could be
It
great.
really stands out, right?
Yeah.
Because they kind of look like wood, but they kind of look like plastic too, and it really kind of adds a unique kind of table presence. It's a unique aspect to the table presence.
It's a really
Now,
interesting project. Yeah.
Notice.
Oh, these guys! I didn't talk about these guys at all.
Well, I mean,
We don't have to talk details, but yeah, these are we printed these boards in office, but the final boards will be basically the same in terms of like structure and integrity. They will have dual layer boards because if you sneeze, this will fly everywhere. Like
I see.
so,
Okay.
having dual layer boards, all these little things, it makes a big difference. Being able to like actually have them stay, and it's just like feels very tactile. Like having to be able to slot something in there and move it around feels good.
Yeah, I was just thinking like this. This all looks very chunky, and that looks
Yeah.
nice. But I imagine it's just going to be regular cardboard.
It'll be regular cardboard, but most of our games that are pretty solid. This is a little more reinforced because we printed it. We made this in house at our office.
Yeah, very cool. Now,
Yeah.
you said you forgot about this.
Oh yeah, so there's different things. So some buildings are not owned by players; they're just city buildings. So like we built that, for example. That would have been there to put my guy on it, but for the sake of just demo, like these buildings aren't owned by the city; and they're much more expensive, but they give benefits. So when I built these, a green guy would come into play in this little council room, and in that case, a yellow one would have come into play. So these guys just kind of hang out. But when you income, because you start off with some income, but you want to use your income ability strategically. You trigger it when you want to maximize what you can get out of it. So when you do that, if I was to use income my turn, I would get my money for my production. I would look at that and amplify it and get coins back. But you also have the opportunity to spend 10 coins to nudge one of these advisors into a combo system that scores differently. Like so, this one scores. It amplifies the scoring for what you would get down here in the mines.
Mm-hmm.
This one it influences whether these little things that are for the pelicans that are for the building of the cathedral. So like that, even if you use them, you still hang on to them. You could score off of those in the end. This adds bonus score to the adjacency scoring, and this one gives you points for every for every tier. That you unlock of like buildings that you've built vertically gives you more points. So you can add these guys that they are a combo multiplier, which helps you like if you find that you maybe rolled really hard, say maybe in mining, but weren't able to do as much in other areas. If you can boost that scoring, that will help you out a lot in the end. So that can really make a big difference in the end game scoring, both to kind of help you catch up if you need to, or just like kind of have a strategic direction to push for. And everyone benefits from these. So
Yeah, I was going to say this
multiple
is like
players will be nudging. Yeah, it's communal. So someone might be like, oh, someone else maybe put another one and be like, oh, that helps me out a lot. Thanks so much. But also maybe it helps them out. So there's multiple people that can benefit from these. So it's a really interesting system, and this adds a lot of like intensity layering to the scoring, which is fun.
I do have to something has me scratching my beard. It is the city of silver.
Yes. That is.
No metal coins?
We do have metal coins.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, all right.
That's a good pitch. So we don't usually do like deluxe editions of components. Right. We try to make all the components of games as deluxe as we can from the base games.
Right.
We don't usually do sell, but for this one, because one, like historically, it ties into like the Czech history of the city, and it was really for a game that's all about coins. It's really cool to have like some kind of clinky metal.
That's what I was saying. Like as soon as you explain the origin of it, I was like, oh, where's my metal?
It makes a lot of sense in this case. So these are all cardboard the base game comes cardboard. We're going to be selling just a metal coin set that we're getting manufactured that will be actual coins in the same color denominations or whatever. Those will be available as a separate purchase. Like if you don't need them to play the game, but if you want to like get a premium coin, like very I don't have any copies right here in hand, but we do have some somewhere. But they feel nice, they sound nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's very satisfying to play with that. So that will be an option as well. Yeah. We'll have those for people to pick up if they want to when the game
I really like these little heads. These are the miners.
Yeah, these little miners. You start with 2, and you can purchase more. You can push more into your kind of pool to use.
Feels like you could also repurpose these for Deal with the Devil.
Right?
They're like little cultists or whatever.
Yeah.
This
Kutná Hora.
This looks super cool. I really like what you're doing with the components. Like reading about it, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. but seeing it and feeling it is a whole different thing. I think that's super cool, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with that
Yeah, thank
in
you.
future games, even beyond this one. But this looks great. Now
That's
this is releasing at Spiel.
Yeah, so this will be released in Europe. Probably going to be released in the US around Christmas time, PAX Unplugged perhaps, probably December-ish.
Okay.
We usually have some copies of our Essen release at PAX Unplugged in the US. And it should be a retail around that time or shortly. Even if sometimes we ship a couple pallets in, like
Yeah.
in this case, we shipped some pallets of our other game in today just to make sure we had some for the show. But yeah, it'll be coming up. I think it's going to be $60 MSRP, which is very reasonable for the amount of stuff you have.
Yeah, especially with these components.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thanks for showing us
Yeah.
Kutná Hora, and look forward to getting a chance to play it. This year.
It's a good time.
Awesome. Definitely keep your eyes on Gaming Trend for more Kutná Hora. Yes, I said it right.
You did.
News going forward, and hopefully we'll get actual hands-on demo PAX Unplugged this year.